All right, hello everybody. We're back with Jerry Spinelli. Report to the principal's office. We left off in chapter 8 where poor Eddie was just bombarded with honkers in the boys' bathroom. And then who shows up? Salem Brownmiller in the boys' bathroom. Don't know why, but let's go on to chapter 9 and see why Salem shows up in the boys' bathroom. And let's see if Eddie's day gets better. I hope it does. I'm rooting for Eddie. All right, chapter 9. In the hallway, Eddie went to the nearest locker and began knocking his forehead into it. "I'm in trouble," he whined. "Big trouble." Salem pulled him away. "You're going to be in big trouble if you don't stop that. What's the matter?" "What's the matter? Every time I look around, I'm in an empty hallway. I missed 2 classes so far, and the only one I went to, somebody flicked a boogie at me. And now I'm missing another class. I'm lost. I don't know where I am. I want to go home." "Whoa," said Salem, whipping out her notebook and pen. "What was that about a boogie?" Eddie just stared at her, a glazed, vacant look as if she had ever saw one. If he was going to do her any good, she was going to have to nurse him along. Hurriedly, she jotted in her notepad, "Flicked boogie, glazed, vacant look." Then she spoke gently to him. "It's okay, Eddie. First day jitters, that's all. Let me see your schedule." He handed it to her. "Hey, same as me. RN 103. "I don't know where that is." Salem returned his schedule. "We'll find it together." She took his arm. "Come on." They walked. "Okay," said Salem. "Go ahead. Ask me." "Ask you what?" "What was I doing in the boys' bathroom?" "I don't care. I just want to be in class. Any class." "Okay, I'll tell you anyway." She pushed a door open. "Down these stairs. But first you want to know how I did it, right? So say how." "How?" Salem pushed open the door at the bottom of the stairs. They were in another deserted hallway. Salem reached into her book bag and with a flourish drew out a long black silky scarf. "This." She bunched up her hair and wrapped the scarf about her head like a turban. "It's how." "Is how." Eddie cooperated just enough to grant her a grudging glance. Sure enough, she could have passed for a boy. "It's my writer's scarf," she said, unwrapping and returning it to the book bag. I always wear it when I'm writing, but sometimes it comes in handy for other things too. At first, I was going to get a white one, but then I thought, nah, it's too common, just what you'd expect a girl to pick up. So I got a black. Mysterious, huh?" No response from Eddie, who plodded straight ahead while Salem bounced sideways down the hall beside him, jabbering. "So now you just want to know why I did it, right?" "Well, in a word, research. I've decided to write my story about a boy's first day in middle school instead of a girl's. So I asked myself, where do you go to find out about boys? Answer, a boy's room, of course. I had a study hall last period, so presto, there I was." She waved her notepad. "Taking notes, I tell you. You boys are something," she said, this with a sly grin and a nudge to Eddie's arm, trying to get a rise out of him. But he just plodded on, vacant, glazed. One thing she had decided not to tell him was that she had chosen him to be the model for the boy in the story. From the moment she had seen him sitting on the back of the bus, she knew he had to be her main character. "So," she said, "what's it like to be a boy?" No answer, and no wonder. Too general a question. "Make it more specific. So what's it like to be spit on?" He wasn't listening. He was glancing about at the room numbers. "Where's 103? He demanded. "Oh, it's down that way," she pointed. "We passed it a couple of times. But we were having such good dialogue. "No, no," he screeched, and once again began butting a locker. "This is wild," thought Salem. "Now he's in an uncontrolled rage. Maybe he's got a multiple personality. That was every writer's dream, to know such a person." She remembered reading about a lady in Minnesota who had 17 different personalities inside of the same body. So far she had counted 2 in Eddie Mott: glazed vacant, uncontrolled rage. She wondered if there were more. She wondered if she could bring them out. What a story! But for now, she pulled him away from the locker and tried to calm him down. It was then that they heard a yell from up the hall. "Stop that hamster!" A small brown furry bundle was racing down the hallway at them. Around the corner, several kids came careening, screaming, squealing like Michelins on the brand new floor. "Stop it!" Eddie just stood there, half expecting the furball to leap up and rip his throat out. It was about the only thing that could happen to him. Meanwhile, Salem quickly dropped her book bag to the floor, set it on its side, and held it open, right in the path of the oncoming animal. The harboring darkness, the crannies formed by the papers, and the books within, it was too inviting for the hamster to resist. Into the green tunnel it scooted, into the back and bottom of the dark. Salem lifted the book bag and slung it over her shoulder. The pursuers, 3 of them, came sneaker squealing to a halt. "He in there?" the tallest one asked, catching his breath. "He is," replied Salem. "Well, fork him over. He's ours." Salem's eyebrows arched. "How do I know that?" The boy snarled. "Because I said so." Eddie edged behind Salem. Salem sniffed. "That isn't a reason." The boy looked at his sidekicks, back to Salem. "We found it outside. It's ours." He put his hand out. He snarled. "Here." Salem snarled back. "I wouldn't give you a carbuncle of my nose if I had a carbuncle." The tall boy's face got right down ugly. He thrust his hand in front of Salem's face. "Girl, that hamster, now." Salem embraced her book bag with both arms. She tried to make the same gargly sound that the spitters in the boys' room had made. "One more inch and I'll spit in your face." She pulled Eddie up to her. He pulled her arm around him, and so will he. The next movement came from up the hall. The door opened, a teacher calling, "Hey there, get where you're going. No loitering." Salem and Eddie started walking. The boys, clearly 8th graders, started walking right behind them, inches behind them, down to the end of the hallway. Turn left, down another hall, Eventually, Art 103 loomed ahead, and so did the question. Which was better, walking into class with half the period over, or continuing this nerve-wracking parade? Salem thought about it. Eddie didn't think. Eddie couldn't think. It was all he could do to remain conscious. All he knew was the pack of scowling 8th graders was following him down a deserted hallway, and that they had been told that he would spit in their faces. He was sure that if he were not for Salem wrapping her arm around his and pulling him along, he'd be lying back in the hallway by now, the 8th graders finishing him off, a carcass, buzzard meat. And then they were veering into a familiar place, the office, where they had been this morning. There was the secretary, and there went the 8th graders right on down the hallway, and there was the principal, Mr. Brimlow, coming out of his office with a big surprised smile, saying, "Well, well, look who's early for lunch." Whew, that was close. So, I will see you in chapter 10 to see what's going to happen with Mr. Brimlow. See you there.